Arsenal Football Club is in the middle of one of the most consequential summer windows in recent memory. The Champions League final is behind them. The season is over. And right now, decisions are being made that will shape whether this club can go one step further next year. Transfer targets are being pursued. Bids are being placed. Players are speaking out. And the football world is watching to see exactly what direction Mikel Arteta and sporting director Andrea Berta take this squad. This is not a quiet summer. This is a summer where Arsenal are active, ambitious, and in some cases already hitting walls. And that is exactly what we are going to break down today. Every piece of news, every confirmed update, every rumour and every implication for this football club, stay with me because there is a lot to get through and every single piece of it matters. The reality for Arsenal is that finishing second or losing a final is no longer acceptable to this fan base or this club. The infrastructure is in place. The manager is in place. The expectation is now trophies. And to compete at that level consistently, the squad needs reinforcement in the right areas, attacking quality, midfield depth, and decisions on players whose futures are uncertain. If Arsenal get this window wrong, they risk standing still while their rivals move forward. If they get it right, they could genuinely build something that dominates English football for years to come. If you want deeper analysis on stories like this, hit that subscribe button right now. At Tessa Arsenal Analyst, we break down every layer of what is happening at this club. Not headlines, not noise, real analysis. Subscribe and stay with us for the full picture. Now let us get into every story one by one. Gabriel Magalhães, the penalty, the pain and the response. We start here because this is the emotional centre of Arsenal's summer. Gabriel Magalhaes missed the decisive penalty in the Champions League final, and in his own words, the moment hit him harder than almost anything in his career. Gabriel said, and I quote directly because these words matter, he said, "I felt terrible. I felt like I had let my teammates down. For a moment, I felt worthless." Now pause on that. This is a professional defender at the highest level of the game admitting publicly that he felt worthless after one moment. That kind of honesty from a footballer is rare, and it tells you everything about how deeply this player cares about Arsenal Football Club. But what came next is the part of this story that defines the relationship between this squad and this fan base. Gabriel said that what happened afterwards surprised him completely. He said the love and support from Arsenal fans was beyond anything he could have imagined. The staff stood by him. His teammates stood by him, but the fans went further. They bought his shirt. They flooded social media with support. They created pictures and videos. They sent messages of encouragement. And they reminded him that one moment does not define a person or a season. Now, here is my analysis of this situation. Gabriel Magalhães is clearly deeply connected to this club on an emotional level. A player who feels worthless after a miss and then openly thanks the fan base with that level of sincerity is not a player who is thinking about leaving. He closed that message by saying, "I will never forget the love you showed me during one of the hardest moments of my career. Thank you, Arsenal family." That is not the language of a player on his way out. That is the language of a player who is emotionally anchored to this club. And from an analytical standpoint, that matters. Settled, committed defenders are the foundation of title-winning teams. Gabriel is one of them. William Saliba, fit, ready, and being managed carefully. France manager Didier Deschamps confirmed this week that William Saliba avoided a long-term injury. That confirmation in itself is significant for Arsenal supporters who were watching the situation closely. Deschamps said directly, "William is doing well. He is going to be managed. If he had had to play tomorrow, he would have played. He was ready to play, but he will not play." It is management, just like for others. Now, my analysis on this is clear. Deschamps is not hiding anything here. Saliba is physically ready. He is available. The decision to rest him is purely about squad rotation and managing his workload coming off a long and demanding season. For Arsenal supporters, this is the best possible news. Their first choice centre-back is fit and ready heading into the summer. There is no injury concern. There is no recovery programme. He is simply being handled professionally by the national team. This is exactly what you want to see from your best defenders in the off-season, managed carefully, fit and ready to go when pre-season begins. Martín Zubimendi, commitment and the road ahead. Martín Zubimendi spoke this week and his words carry important weight for how Arsenal supporters should feel about their midfield heading into next season. He said, "I am proud of what we achieved as a team this season and grateful to be part of this incredible group. Of course, not everything went perfectly. Football has its ups and downs, and there were moments that did not go the way I wanted, but that is part of the game." He then added something that stood out clearly. He said, "Arsenal will always have a special place in my heart. The support, the atmosphere, and the people around this club are truly special. I cannot wait to come back, keep working hard, and help make even more history with this team. The best is yet to come." My analytical reading of these words is that Zubimendi is not performing for the cameras here. He is speaking with genuine attachment to the project. The phrase "the best is yet to come" is not a platitude. It is a statement of belief from a player who has been inside this squad, seen its quality up close, and genuinely believes this group has more to give. For Arteta's midfield plans, a settled and committed Zubimendi is a major asset. His composure on the ball and ability to control the tempo of a game are exactly what a team with title ambitions needs at the base of its midfield. Kai Havertz, development, defensive work and set pieces. Two updates emerged this week involving Kai Havertz, both connected to his work with the German national team. In the first, Havertz spoke about his defensive development since joining Arsenal. His exact words were notable. He said, "I was not a player who used to track back much, but that has developed at Arsenal. Football in general is evolving in that direction, like in the Premier League. Every player has to cover defensive ground. That has become one of my strengths over the last 2 years. My analysis here is straightforward." Havertz is openly crediting Arsenal and Mikel Arteta's coaching environment for transforming a part of his game that was previously considered a weakness. A forward who can now be trusted defensively is a significantly more valuable player than one who only contributes going forward. This is a sign of genuine tactical maturity and personal growth. In his second set of comments, Havertz spoke about the importance of set pieces with Germany. He said they are extremely important and can decide big games. If you cannot find a solution right away, a set piece can be decisive. We have to exploit every situation to create and capitalise on a scoring opportunity. We will be working a lot on that over the next week. This is Havertz speaking in an international context, but the mentality he is describing is fully aligned with what Arteta demands at Arsenal. Discipline, awareness, and the ability to make the most of every situation. A player who thinks this way about football is the kind of player who makes winning teams. Morgan Rogers, the profile, the fit, and why Arsenal want him. Now we move into transfer territory. And the name at the very top of Arsenal's attacking wish list this summer is Morgan Rogers of Aston Villa. The evidence is clear on why Arsenal have identified the 24-year-old as a priority target. Rogers produced 14 goals and 12 assists last season for Villa. He scored and provided an assist in the Europa League final. He helped fire Aston Villa back into the top 4. And he has made 109 appearances for Villa across the last 2 seasons, which demonstrates exceptional availability and durability. From a tactical standpoint, Rogers can operate in the number 10 role or as a left winger. That versatility directly mirrors what Arteta did when he signed players like Eberechi Eze and Jurriën Timber, players who can cover multiple positions and give the manager flexibility within the system. Rogers also fits the physical profile Arteta has consistently pursued. At 6'2" and 80 kilograms, he is physically imposing. When you look at the spine Arteta has built at Arsenal, from Gabriel and Saliba at the back to the physicality he demands across the pitch, Rogers fits that profile completely. And critically, Rogers is Premier League proven. He has not had to adapt from a foreign league. He is already operating at the highest level domestically. That reduces risk significantly. My assessment is that if Arsenal can get this deal done, Rogers would be a genuinely smart signing. He is young enough to improve, established enough to contribute immediately, physically right for Arteta's demands, and tactically flexible enough to play multiple roles. This is exactly the type of player Andrea Berta should be targeting, Marcus Rashford. The door is closed. The situation with Marcus Rashford is straightforward, Arsenal inquired. So did Tottenham Hotspur and Newcastle United, and Rashford is not interested in speaking to any of them. It is now clear that Rashford spent last season on loan at Barcelona, starting 26 games across all competitions and contributing directly to 28 goals, 14 goals and 14 assists. Barcelona had a pre-agreed option to sign him permanently for €30 million. However, Barcelona are not prepared to pay that fee, particularly following their decision to sign Anthony Gordon from Newcastle United. Despite that, Rashford's focus remains entirely on returning to Barcelona permanently. He is not willing to listen to Premier League clubs. The door is firmly closed on that front. Now, my analysis of this situation from Arsenal's perspective is this. Rashford, when fully motivated and focused, can be a world-class attacking player. But the situation is that Rashford is approaching 29 years old in October, and consistency has been his defining problem throughout his career. That is not a new issue, and it is not going to resolve itself. More importantly, Arsenal do not need to chase a player who does not want to be there. The evidence strongly suggests Morgan Rogers is a better fit for this squad, this system, and this moment in the club's development. Rogers is younger, has more consistent output, and would likely cost less in wages given his profile. Arsenal should not spend time or energy pursuing Rashford when better options are available. Ayub Bouaddi, the bid, the rejection, and the gap. Arsenal made a concrete move for Lille midfielder Ayub Bouaddi this week. The bid was worth around €60 million. Lille rejected it. And the French club are holding firm at a minimum valuation of €70 million. Now let us be precise about what we know here. Bouaddi is 18 years old. Arsenal placed a €60 million bid for a teenager, and Lille said no. That tells you two things very clearly. First, Arsenal are serious about this target. A €60 million bid for an 18-year-old is not a casual inquiry. That is a significant financial commitment that signals genuine intent. Second, Lille know exactly what they have and are not going to let him go cheaply. A €10 million gap exists right now between Arsenal's offer and Lille's demand. Whether Arsenal are willing to go back with an improved offer remains to be seen, but the fact that this bid has been made and reported is significant. Arsenal are actively investing in young talent at the very top end of the market. That speaks to the club's ambition and to the scouting vision driving their recruitment strategy. Jeremy Monga. The move is progressing. Transfer journalist Fabrizio Romano reported that Arsenal are pushing to advance a deal for Jeremy Monga from Leicester City. Discussions are ongoing. And crucially, Monga himself has opened the door to a move to Arsenal. My analysis of this update is that when a player actively signals willingness to move, deals tend to move faster. The player's desire to join is a major factor in how quickly negotiations between clubs can conclude. The fact that Monga has opened the door suggests this is a transfer that has real momentum behind it. Mateus Fernandes on the list and Arteta approves. Mateus Fernandes is on Arsenal's list of midfield targets for this summer, and significantly, Mikel Arteta is personally a big admirer of the midfielder. This detail matters. When a manager personally endorses a target, it usually means the player fits the tactical profile he wants to build. Arteta has been very specific about the types of players he recruits. Players who are physically capable, tactically intelligent, and able to contribute in multiple phases of the game. If Arteta is an admirer of Fernandes, it is reasonable to conclude Fernandes fits that profile. The situation here is still at the interest stage, but it is a name to watch as the window develops. Ricardo Calafiori, Real Madrid circle and Arsenal hold firm. This is a story that directly affects Arsenal's defensive plans. Real Madrid have made direct contact with Ricardo Calafiori's camp. That is confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. However, Arsenal view the Italian as an important player and a key part of the club's long-term project, and critically, any potential deal would be complicated. My analysis of this situation is important. Arsenal are not simply going to let Calafiori walk out. He is viewed internally as a long-term building block for this squad. The fact that Real Madrid have made contact does not mean a transfer is happening. It means Real Madrid are testing the waters, and Arsenal have clearly drawn a line in the sand. The phrase, any potential deal would be complicated, is not accidental. That is a signal that Arsenal will not make this easy for anyone looking to take one of their key players. If Real Madrid want Calafiori, they will have to pay an extraordinary price, and even then, Arsenal may simply refuse to sell. Gabriel Jesus, Juventus are watching. Juventus are monitoring Gabriel Jesus ahead of the summer window. The striker is potentially available. Arsenal are not actively pushing him out. But the situation is that his future may depend on how Arsenal's attacking plans develop over the coming weeks. This is a nuanced update. Arsenal are not selling Jesus. But they are not blocking conversations either. It is a wait-and-see situation. If Arsenal bring in a new striker or attacking player who changes the squad dynamic, Jesus could become available. If not, he stays. Juventus losing Dusan Vlahovic as a free agent this summer is directly relevant here. Vlahovic is leaving Juventus because the club cannot meet his salary demands. With that striker vacancy now confirmed, it is logical that Juventus would look at options like Jesus to fill that gap. Whether that interest develops into a concrete offer and whether Arsenal would entertain it remains to be seen. Ethan Nwaneri. Loan move likely. Ethan Nwaneri is set for another loan move this summer. He had a difficult spell at Olympique de Marseille after joining on loan in January. And now a Premier League loan is being tipped as the next step in his development. Newcastle United are currently reported to be leading the race for his signature. My analysis is this. A Premier League loan for Nwaneri makes complete sense at this stage of his development. He needs game time in a competitive environment he is familiar with. Marseille was a challenging experience. A Premier League club that plays him regularly would be significantly more beneficial for his growth as a player. Dusan Vlahovic, free agent, market implications. Fabrizio Romano confirmed this week that Dusan Vlahovic will leave Juventus as a free agent this summer. Juventus director Giorgio Chiellini confirmed the club tried to keep him but could not meet his salary demands. Chiellini said directly that at current salary conditions, Vlahovic will not stay in Italy. While this story is not directly about Arsenal, the market implications are real. A proven striker becoming available on a free transfer changes the dynamics of the transfer window across Europe. Clubs shopping for a centre-forward now have that option available. It could affect the market for other strikers, and it is a name that clubs will be monitoring closely. Stepping back and looking at the full picture, Arsenal are clearly in an ambitious and active phase of their summer planning. There are genuine positives here. The squad leadership is emotionally committed, as shown by both Gabriel and Zubimendi. The main attacking target in Morgan Rogers fits the Arteta mould precisely. Concrete bids have already been placed for young talent like Bouaddi. Emerging deals like Monga are progressing. And the club is holding firm on key assets like Calafiori despite interest from Real Madrid. The challenges are real too. The Bouaddi bid was rejected. Rashford has closed the door. And decisions around Gabriel Jesus and Nwaneri need to be managed carefully to ensure the squad remains balanced. But the overall direction is clear. Arsenal are building with purpose, with precision, and with a long-term vision that does not chase headlines but targets players who fit the system, the culture, and the future of this football club. That is the analysis for today. Thank you for watching Tessa Arsenal Analyst. If this breakdown helped you understand the full picture of what is happening at Arsenal this summer, hit that subscribe button and stay connected. There is much more to come as this window develops.